Hello everybody and welcome to Amphlett Reviews, back another Hong Kong content review, diving into some more Tsui Hark territory with Shanghai Blues on Mubi at the moment, part of the 40th anniversary edition, 4K restoration that was done in 2024. It is available exclusively now on that streaming services, not available on Blu-ray at the current moment. I got a funny feeling that 88 will do this one, for sure, in terms of a brand new 4K edition potentially, but at the moment that film has exclusively been restoration and put together and available only on Mubi on the streaming service right now. Now, I don't have a huge amount to say about Shanghai Blues. It was released in 1984. This is 1 year after Zulu Warriors, and this basically is the Zulu Warriors of Tsui Hark's comedy done on the opposite side. He's managed to do a complete lunacy, wuxia style fantasy film epic of, bonkers proportion. I've done a review for previously. That was released in 1983 into the Zulu Warriors. A film which is, I don't know how I feel ultimately about it, and if it's a good film and technically a bad film. It has so much going on, so much thrown at you at the screen, that it doesn't have a coherent story. It doesn't really have a consistent character to really follow as much, and it's just throwing some technically really good stuff at you because it's so much and coming at you so fast. You can't process it. You don't know if it's actually good or bad necessarily, but it's just a complete lunacy film, Looney Tunes film, presented to you for almost a 2 hour plus film. Crazy. And clearly he had that still in his mind. I don't know if it's just the after effects of making that film. With doing Shanghai Blues is the same kind of thing, but just in terms of a comedy, this is a seriously bonkers, goofball, incoherent, just slapstick galore of 2 hours where just kind of throwing a lot of comedy at you, which isn't always coherent, as mentioned. It's not always with context. It's just kind of thrown at you, and it's up to you to kind of piece it all together, more or less. Granted, on this one, compared to Zulu Warriors, there is something you can attach to a little bit more. It does have two interesting kind of characters, kind of a love story, which just kind of does blossom throughout the film. Whether you like that story or not is another question. If you're here for plot, you're not going to get much of it. It's very, very minuscule. The focus of this film is the kind of cinematography. It's a very flashy film. It's set during the 1940s, kind of Hong Kong, and you've got a kind of the backdrop of World War II with the Japanese come in during the start of the film, and you've got this kind of love story that's kind of for the ages, essentially very old-fashioned, kind of very kind of 50s kind of style, but it's very colorful, very bright, high in fashion with a style kind of thing as well. It's a very colorful film. It's a very bright looking film, which adds some charm to it. It is a very charming movie. And you've got this story where a comedian, sort of like performer essentially, with his dad or kind of a relative of him essentially, leaves behind all that stuff. During the start of the film, he wants to go be a soldier and go and fight the war because the Japanese are coming. It's a very intense, a very surprising kind of opening sequence, which sets the tone in a really bad way for the film, because when you go into it, you're thinking, okay, this is the night in the lifestyle, a day in the life of a kind of, Hong Kong city, and you've got the impending kind of, wars on the horizon with the cities being blown up and, fire. And it's a very intense sort of first kind of 10-15 minutes, and you're not too sure what direction the film's going to go into. I didn't know the film was going to be a comedy until much later on, which makes a lot of sense. But you've got this story where basically two people haven't seen each other in terms of how dark it is, but they've kind of stayed together on this bridge side, and basically, I'm going to come back, wait for me. Once we win this war, we will win. I will find you. And this kind of this very blossom, very old traditional, kind of stupid, which is pointed out, which I do like that. I do appreciate that. It's a very kind of silly kind of plan in terms of two people waiting for almost 10 years to find each other, which you don't even know their names, don't even know what they look like. It's a very kind of, old school kind of romance in a sense, which maybe for the time period it works, maybe for film it works a bit more, but who knows? Entirely up to you how you feel. But essentially these two characters, one's going to go off to be a soldier in for a war, and then one is basically has a career in basically being show business, being a singer, being a performer, and she does well for herself. She gets kind of wealthy, and she's basically a very nice, honest, and happy person, but she's longing and waiting for that love that she basically promised so many years ago. And similar to our main soldier character, which comes back to doing kind of street performances and various odd jobs here and there, and a bit of a goof ultimately, and he's also trying to find the woman he loves. And through that kind of, jumping point is hilarious and suit slapstick comedy back and forth. You've got new characters that join into the mix. You've got misidentity. You've got very familiar kind of comedy, a whole sequence which is ripped straight away from Project A Part 2 with Jackie Chan. There's definitely things being thrown around or people falling over. There's a lot going on, a lot of different types of 80s Hong Kong shenanigan comedy which is thrown at you. A lot of it is very incoherent. Some of it makes sense, some of it doesn't. Some of it's pretty funny, some of it's not funny. Some it's just all over the place. And through that, you do find there is some likability, there is some charm to the film as the film goes along, because I will admit the first portion of the film, the first 40 minutes, was a bit of a struggle, from having tonal whiplash during the start to going to a really kind of a broad kind of, you know, slapstick kind of comedy, which doesn't always quite land, and you don't know why characters are talking the way they're talking or why they're acting a certain way, and it's very strange. There's some weird kind of confrontations and some, you know, very typical kind of, you know, mid kind of 80s kind of Hong Kong kind of comedy, which is very in line with Tsui Hark in his sense of humor. And, you know, I've very much seen that a few times now within his films. But eventually the film does find its footing with exploring these characters and having some real actual good chemistry on screen. And there is some nice and sincere moments which help land the film a little bit better, ground it a little bit more, and you understand what the film's trying to go for, what it's trying to kind of build up to, which I do appreciate. It's a bit of an old school kind of romantic kind of comedy. Overall, I think Shanghai Blues is a very strange film. It's definitely is a after kind of math of Zulu Warriors. Definitely Tsui Hark's got that kind of still that mindset, and doing a period-based romantic kind of comedy, such a massive degree in terms of the fast-paced nature of it. It's quite impressive in one respect, and it's a bit hard for me personally to kind of know where I land on it in terms of, like, do I like it, do I not? But there is some good general moments in there. There is some good creativity. I think the excellent backdrop of kind of like, you know, Hong Kong is fantastic. The 1940s kind of bright, colourful kind of fashion, the look of it does add some kind of feel towards it as well. And I think there is some general moments of funny comedy, but also some very annoyance and some very strange ones as well at the same time. I think it does end very nice. It's a nice conclusion. I definitely recommend it for sure on the streaming service. Whether I would revisit it again, I don't know. But definitely an interesting one, and definitely in tone and in line with Tsui Hark from what I've seen up to this point. So what are your thoughts and opinions on the film itself? Please comment down below. What is your favourite Tsui Hark movie? Maybe one that I haven't seen yet. Please comment down below. So in time goes on for reviews.